Welcome everybody to hopefully legible hashed podcast with our guest or co-host or just dude on the other hand, Bob, aka fiatjaf. Welcome, fiatjaf.
Yeah, I am Ruben Sonson. Just reminding people, and you are who are you? I
I
don't
don't know.
remember.
You
Okay,
you you keep putting a name into the description, but I don't know. Um, so hopefully the sound is a lot better this time,
yeah,
uh, so people can actually understand what you say, and they can hear
yeah.
the cars on the background better. It's hopefully it's just overall a better experience going forward.
Cars are a good thing. Like we
Yeah,
have
I
cars
agree.
here in this country. It's not a
Um,
complete shithole. There are cars. So I watched this game.
and yes, uh, it's again as last week, shamelessly ripped from Artosis. Just gonna press play here now. Um, what's his name? Is it
I'm
Jeremy
trying to
Rubin?
remember. I'm
Jeremy
trying.
Rubin, right? He announced he's gonna quit, or he quit
I think he
the
announced that he had have already quit.
yeah. So what's your response?
My response is that he quit because we didn't activate drive chain. No, just kidding. Oh, I think there are a lot of people that hated him. I don't know why. Um, Maybe because he's a little annoying, but I like him. And CTV was not well received, and because Gregory Maxwell didn't approve of it, and I think that's stressful. What do you think?
Um, so I don't know. Maybe I think the whole pushing for a pushing for a soft fork that didn't help his cause. Maybe I don't know. It's very complicated. Um, I guess it's a shame. He did some nice work. He also put in a lot of effort into everything around it. Um, what's the website? He made a website.
For CTV,
He made a bunch of websites, but
he made one that was utxos.org.
yeah, utxos.com of org or whatever. Um, yeah, utxos.org for BIP 119, and it's a simple site, but it's nice. So I think
So you're trying to say that Jeremy Rubin is a web designer.
yes,
That's
he's
it's
a
a, it's
he's
a,
a very good web designer. No, I'm
that's a
just
shame that we lost one of our best web
web
designers
designer.
in the
Yes, I
Bitcoin
agree.
space.
No, I think it's interesting. You just have to wonder. It's like, okay, what did he do something wrong? Did he
What do you think? You know what I think, right? I
tell me?
think I think that there's a culture among these Twitter people that Bitcoin, for some reason they decided that Bitcoin cannot change, and then I think it's just because they know Bitcoin won't change, so they just say that it's better if it doesn't change. There's a contradiction in their minds. They want Bitcoin to change, maybe they want to feel like they can change Bitcoin if they have a good idea for Bitcoin to change or something like that. But they know that will not happen. So they embrace the opposition and say, "Oh, I don't want Bitcoin to change." It's, but
I think you're close. I think you're close. You're onto something. Perhaps it's easy virtue, right? So if your default position is just um, saying no, then in like the game theory of Bitcoin, then no change is going to happen, right? And
no, that's
if
not.
you're
That's what I was going to say next. Is
yes,
if tomorrow Gregor Maxwell or Peter, that guy, your neighbor, one of these people with high reputation, they propose a soft fork, then all these people will immediately say they're in favor without
Uh,
without even looking.
I'm not sure. So there's okay, maybe, but there still is going to be a camp that is just uh, finds easy virtue in counter signaling everything.
Like
And
Taproot, who was opposed to Taproot?
I don't know. I don't.
No one.
You're talking about this Twitter stuff, right? I'm not on Twitter. Um,
Okay.
but what I do see is like the um, yeah, like I said, it's like an it's easy virtue in the sense that you can tell yourself that I am defending Bitcoin by simply saying no to everything because it's easy, right? You don't necessarily have to understand. You can take it's a very lazy position, but you can tell yourself that you're doing something really good.
It's
I don't know.
easy just because it's impossible to change. Like it's very hard to change Bitcoin. But if it
Hmm.
was easy to change, and if it was a hard work to keep Bitcoin from changing, then they would embrace the change, I guess.
The so, but yeah, I do wonder. It's like, what did he do anything wrong? Is there anything he had to do? Uh, he didn't do that he should have done?
Well, I've
I
heard
don't know.
some
Yeah.
rumors of personal things that he did that disliked others. And I don't want to talk about anything. I actually don't know anything concrete, but
Well, I think that
maybe there are some things that we don't know that happen between people that cause animosity.
um so obviously we did zero prep for this, so I have to go off memory. What eventually occurred, he launched this. Let's say he launched a meme that he wanted to push a soft fork,
Hmm.
um, and I guess people didn't like that. Um, and in the general, and if I recall correctly, the general discussion when he started to push for it, not necessarily the soft fork, but uh, his proposal, or maybe it was in relation to the him saying he was trying to go for a soft fork. In any event, the discussion was like, yes, okay, these covenants is a very interesting, but there has to be more general discussion about it first.
Yeah, I think that's
Uh,
just an excuse.
yes, and uh, yes, I know.
You know?
Yes and no. Yes, yes, it's an easy excuse, but no, in the sense that I do think we, in a more broad sense, the notion of covenants necessarily hasn't landed yet. Now, apparently, there's this upvolt stuff.
Yeah, it's basically the same. Like you tweak some things here
I
and
I
there.
I haven't necessarily looked into it. So, but obviously, it's about probably about doing the same thing.
Yeah, I haven't looked
Um,
at it either, but there are some difference from what I heard. But yeah,
so,
it's still like a very limited thing, very restrictive.
so one of the
And
arguments was that because Jeremy he restricted CTV. He made it very minimalistic, let's say, consciously so,
yeah,
in order to make it less controversial or more on the safe side. And then something interesting happened where when one of the arguments was,
it's
um,
too restrictive.
no, one of the arguments is, yes, okay, maybe this will work, but then we get
Look at this.
CTV, and then
The guy killed 20 drones.
yes, but the other guy doesn't have any fucking sunkens.
Yeah. And what do you think happened there?
I don't know. I think he thought he could get away without any sunkens.
Now I remember this game that I watched this game.
I haven't
This
watched it,
this this Terran guy is a Chinese player, and
but
he's playing against a Korean pro.
oh, interesting. But yeah, I think he thought he could get away without any sunkens, and eventually he could, but it's silly, right? Because that once even one or two sunkens would have bought him so much time, and now he just got out of position, and he got himself zero time.
If
So
there was a sunken, the Marines would all target the sunken, right? Since
yes,
there
but
was not, they automatically fire on the drone, so they kill the drones much more efficiently.
yes,
Mm.
so that's yeah. So he, there was no time, and then he lost a bunch of drones. So we'll see how it plays out. Um, so
Okay,
one of the
I'm
arguments, so
curious to hear.
it was too restrictive in the sense that maybe in the future we can get something better, and then the we're stuck with like legacy, or what's the yeah, then basically CTV is legacy code, right? Then
Yeah, I
we're
saw that argument too. Yeah,
and
I think it's a lazy excuse because you
nah.
can argue that about anything, about everything.
I'm okay. So, but then, and now it gets interesting. Then the argument, but not in like the context of yes, but the moment we have simplicity, eventually, somewhere, maybe down the line, then none of this stuff is necessary, right?
Right? Yeah.
And um, I've seen arguments with Adam Beck on this, where interestingly enough, Adam Beck himself pushes against this notion simply because he says like yes, but it's too speculative still, right? And if it's going to be somewhere, it's too far down the line, so it's just too early to take simplicity into the discussion. um so yeah, I don't know, it's difficult. I think it's a shame um that Jeremy is not with us anymore. Rest in peace, Jeremy. I don't know.
Wow.
It's yeah. I guess it sucks, right? To propose something for Bitcoin. I can imagine it's very frustrating. There's zero glory in it, and only a lot of shit. You get a lot of shit. Um,
Well, don't you think like it's impossible? And because there will always be too much, too many opposition against any idea, no matter how good it is. And at the same time, if one of the few enlightened people propose something, it will be completely different. And then whenever I say this or someone else says something like that, there's always the answer is, oh, because but these people they deserve this reputation because they done a lot for Bitcoin. But okay, that's fine, but it's still not a good system. Yeah, I don't have an alternative.
it's
I just
the
think people should stop proposing changes because nothing's going to happen ever. So
uh,
just sit down and pray for Gregory Maxwell to propose something.
no, okay, but in the sense you're right, man. In it, Bitcoin does rely on let's say philosopher kings. Um,
And the problem is that these
it's a
philosopher
committee.
kings, they
It's a
they don't
committee of
feel
philosopher kings.
like they don't think that of themselves like as the kings, so they
No, and
don't.
that creates a weird situation, right? Where they're they're very skittish about this notion of power and influence, so they put in all the effort in order to deny um, the fact that they are in that position,
Yeah,
or try to do everything to avoid to be in that position, but they are.
yeah.
Um, and
And they like if they were actually acting like as the leaders that they should be, they should do something about CTV and say, oh no, this is good or
yes,
this
but
is bad.
that
And
also kills the meme, right? Because it also, for all the Grok brains rely on this meme that these philosopher kings are not there, right? Or let's say that it's not an individual, so the philosopher committee, that the philosopher committee is not there,
yeah,
and
well,
they would get very uneasy.
but they could at least say something, right? Like I like this proposal or I don't like.
I don't know
but
what the
most of
position
them,
of
but
Gregory
they,
Maxwell was
I think,
on
oh,
this.
Gregor Maxwell, his position was clear on a Reddit post. Like he said, CTV should never ever be activated because for some
Why?
reason
Okay,
I
you
think
don't know why?
he hates Jeremy Rubin for some reason. There's external. That was my
Mm,
understanding, but I don't
mm.
remember exactly how I got this understanding. But he said clearly that he thought CTV was terrible, but he didn't explain why. So
Okay, I haven't looked into it.
it's a very old Reddit post. Uh, but what I was trying to say is that most of these people, like except for Gregor Maxwell, they don't say anything because I think they're not interested. Like they're interested in the cryptography
Mm-hmm.
magic, and CTV is too boring. Doesn't involve any cryptography trick, so they're not interested. So they just leave it there and say nothing. So that leads me to the conclusion that no no changes to Bitcoin that do not involve cryptography, some new cryptographic scheme, magic, they will ever be considering. The same
I don't know.
reason that's the same reason why that any private thing is never going to happen because it doesn't interest the leaders.
You think? You think it's never gonna happen? I think any
I
private.
wouldn't bet
I,
completely, but I would bet uh, on a percentage.
I think I don't know. I think any private is, or maybe at the time, uh, it something similar to it might just get into it. I mean, it was very close to be put to be considered at the Taproot fork, right?
I think it had a chance, but
Yeah.
the BIP author is, is he just refuses to advocate for his BIP. He just says nothing. He says absolutely nothing. He said, "I don't want a conflict. I don't want any conflict. I don't want to even propose the idea that this should perhaps maybe someday be activated." Like this, these positions are very weird for me.
Yeah, okay, because it's you get into these weird governance quirks, right? Because we we still don't even have a method or procedure for soft forking.
I don't think there can ever be a method.
No, I agree, but I'm just stating that we don't even have that, right?
Yeah,
And every time it's like the discussion is like, well, we should actually, but then at every time there's going to be this same discussion. It's going to be annoying. Yeah, it's difficult. It's something inherently very difficult in relation to Bitcoin. I'll hope we can soldier through it um, to a point where I don't know. I think okay, and this is something I think we also lack a vision for Bitcoin. I don't think
what do you
it's
mean?
necessarily clear what. Oh, that's nasty. That's I swear, dude. Being Terran sucks so bad because your Sim City is next to impossible. Buildings take up so much space. You have to build all these depots that take up so much space.
Just build in the middle of the map.
You have these stupid add-ons that make them wonky and
I watched the
it's
game
it's
uh,
annoying.
some time ago. And the guy was going to build an add-on on the command center, and he clicked somewhere, so the command center lift,
Uh-huh.
and it was like in the beginning of the game, the only command center, the thing lift, and then the SCVs just went to the place where the command center was, so he couldn't land again. It was
Yeah, it's
yeah.
annoying. Um
So you said that I remember the poll that I did on Twitter about, do you think Bitcoin should and will become the money of the world or something like that?
uh-huh.
What do you think about that? You didn't see it, right?
No, I don't
Because
think
you don't
so.
have it. Yeah. Do
Um
you think yes or no?
I think it Uh, the unit of account of the world, yeah, like a global reserve currency, sure. And anything beyond that, it's I don't know, it's too difficult. But uh, I think in
Okay, so
due time,
you would vote yes, and yes.
sure, yeah.
But the interesting fact was that, um, like there were like 80% voted yes, and there were a bunch of comments from people saying no, of course not, and explaining with arguments. But the silent majority voted yes, and the people that were commenting were in disbelief, thinking, "Oh, why all these people think yes? I thought no was obvious." And
Nah,
it was interesting.
because there are only Bitcoiners responding to your Twitter poll.
Of
Pietro.
course, yeah,
Yeah,
of course. But there are 20% of Bitcoiners that think Bitcoin will not be, and it shouldn't be the money of the world. I think these are the people that are happy with Bitcoin staying a niche thing for nerds.
I don't know. But like I said, I think it lacks a vision. Um, the only vision that there is in any concrete sense is like I said last week, the Safety School of Bitcoin.
Which is a
But
very good school, right?
yes, it's a very good school. I promote it every day. No, so which I don't think
I don't think it is good. I don't
I
know.
don't
You
think
couldn't find a problem with it
I
the
didn't
last year.
articulate it well enough. I think the core of it, because it's the Bitcoin as digital gold, right? And only in a very narrow sense of it just being a shiny digital rock, um, that I can send and receive in some very rudimentary, basic manner, and that's it, right? That's the be all and end all of Bitcoin. Um, that's one vision that's somewhat concrete and I guess shared by a lot of people, and that also bumps into this any changes or proposed changes because they get uneasy. It's like, wait, no, Bitcoin is just my shiny digital rock, um,
I don't think
and
that's part of
don't touch it.
the safety thought. I think
You don't
safety
think?
is just inflation is the cause of many bads in the world, and central banks will always inflate, and the only way to end Bitcoin is the solution to this problem. I think it's basically that. It doesn't say anything about Bitcoin never ever changing. Actually, safety also promotes when he's pressed, he says something like, "Oh, about scaling. How do you think Bitcoin will scale?" And he hints at custodian solutions, and that would make, if people paid attention to that part, they would hate him because there's this gut
No,
for
that
custodian
makes
solutions.
absolutely sense if he says custodial solutions because that's completely in line with the digital rock, right? The way you
I don't
scale
think I
the
don't
way
think
you scale gold is also via custodial solutions. He doesn't want to do anything about Bitcoin. He says, "Well, we'll just use custodial solutions to scale Bitcoin or do anything with Bitcoin."
Yeah, but he's
Just
open. Like, he just says, "Oh, this could be done." He doesn't say, because he doesn't have any idea. So that's possible. It's possible to do custodial solution. So why not? But I don't think he would be opposed to other ideas. Like, he just didn't think about any of these things. But maybe I have misunderstood him. But the problem is that the the horde of people that live on Twitter and oppose all the changes, they also oppose any custodial stuff. They despise anything that says it's custodian. So
um yeah, maybe part of it is that you're personifying the horde, right?
me,
Yeah. Um so it's difficult. maybe that is not true. Maybe the horde 50% of the horde has this position, and then 50% of the horde, or maybe 30% of
Yeah,
the horde
yeah,
has this
yeah.
position, 30% of the horde,
Yeah, I'm
and
just
then
saying
maybe
my
there's
impression.
30% that has completely mutually exclusive opinions about subjects, and they're just complete retards. Who knows?
Okay,
Um,
I have another topic.
okay.
Did you see that ordinals thing? You know what
Uh,
ordinals are?
yes. Yes, but this was a while ago. I looked into ordinals, but basically, it's just uh, an
Like,
interpretation scheme, right? It's
it's a
an inter.
colored coin thing, colored satoshis.
Yeah, no, yeah, it's an interpretation scheme on the Satoshi level, I think.
Yeah,
Yeah. Um. Well, okay. This before we get into the because it's related. We're talking about these changes to Bitcoin. We had Taproot, and then I think it was this week. Somebody came up on Twitter and said, "Yeah, um, turns out you can push a lot of data into the blockchain using the witness part in combination with Taproot, and um, push up to theoretically 4 megabytes of data into
a
the
single
blockchain into a single
transaction.
transaction. Yeah,
Yeah,
and that relates to the ordinals.
yeah.
So,
I didn't
uh,
know like someone discovered this
mhm,
now. As
apparently,
it, as you can see, the taproot soft fork should have been more debated, right? Like,
yeah, interesting. It's very interesting. So if I'm clear on the matter, because I haven't looked into it deeply, I just took notice of it. From what I understand, the problem is that there is a discount on the witness part in terms of the weight for the sets per vbyte, right?
yeah, but this was introduced on Segwit.
I agree. So
But there was a limit. There was an artificial limit on the size of the script, I think, and it was
yeah,
used
so the
on
script is
taproot.
limited, and I think by the sheer fact of the mast, you are able to. Uh,
No, I don't think that's the case. I think the script is unlimited now. A single script can be any size.
no, the
If
witness, not the script, the witness.
the witness,
I
yeah,
think I think the
the
script is
script
still
is inside the witness, right?
okay. Sure.
I don't know exactly what the details, if the script of the witness or the witness. But if you go to the originals page, there are these inscriptions,
Yeah,
right?
there are entire pictures.
There are videos. There are videos. And if you click on any of these, you can pick one that's large,
hmm
and you take this transaction ID and you open it on a block explorer. Did you do that? And you
Can
see the gigantic size of the thing.
so the but again, so the problem here is that there because of the discount of the uh, weighting of the witness part of the transaction, that these pushing this arbitrary data on chain is cheaper than doing a regular transaction, right?
Yes.
That's the core of the issue.
Yeah, Segwit was a block size increase, right? And everybody knew
hmm
that the witness had a discount, and if you push only witness, like most of the block witness, you get to 4 megabytes.
Yes, well, if you would optimize it, you would get to 4 megabytes,
Yeah, yeah. You technically it's hard to optimize with normal transactions. You
right?
wouldn't ever reach 4, but if you do these inscriptions that are just an image, a video, then you can get very close, I guess. The
So
biggest image I saw, it had, what is the size? Let me see here. Like 150 kilobytes.
But can we can we conclude that Bitcoin is broken now?
No, what do you think about this? Actually,
Uh,
I was so pissed about this thing because it's so stupid. Because even the Ethereum people, they don't put their images in the blockchain. But maybe
well,
it's
as an NFT, it's better, right? Because at least it's on chain.
it's so, NFT. I don't even know what to say about this. Yeah, it's so
As,
stupid.
objectively, as an NFT, it's better. I don't know how transferable this thing is, right? Um, I think
Yeah, I
the
think
ordinals, yeah. So
you should be able to transfer, right,
yeah,
the satoshi that these things attach it to.
yes. So then, as an NFT, it's superior. But is Bitcoin broken now?
No, I don't think it is. But I think people could break Bitcoin, like, because these things, since they're the witness, you don't have to keep these stuff on the, like, it's not like the old abusive way of putting data on the chain that you have to keep forever on the state. This thing is not on the state, so it's just a bunch of garbage that the nodes have to store.
So I had a small initial discussion about this, but you it's not like no input, right? Because you can ignore no input outputs a priori because they're
No
not
input,
important.
no up return.
Sorry, op return. You can ignore the op return outputs
Yeah, yeah.
a priori, but you cannot ignore these. You cannot ignore these witnesses.
You can, because it's already spent. Like, you just it's already not in the state.
What do you mean?
Because the part that you have to keep track that is more expensive for the node are the unspent outputs,
Yes.
right? And this one is already spent. So, because you publish the script when you're spending it, so any of these inscriptions, they are in transactions that were already spent.
I see. Yes, but okay, okay, but you have to still verify the transaction.
You
So it's
have
not
to
about
still,
it's not about the UTXO. I mean, you're not even it's not about the UTXO. It's not about the UTXO set. It's about just the blockchain itself, right?
yeah, uh, yeah, the blockchain, like, it just,
Yes, and you still have to
it's safe.
verify it.
You have to verify, but yeah, yeah, you have
Yeah,
to read all this stuff, but you don't have
yeah.
to verify anything because it's an if block. Like, it's if nothing, skip this part, which is a bunch of bytes, and go to the other clause of the if, right?
Okay, fair, but
So it's
I
just ignored this huge amount of bytes. You
yes,
can
but
just
they're
skip
no,
through.
they're not ignored. They're still on your node.
Yeah, you still have to store that.
Right, right.
But
Whereas
how is it
whereas
different to like, why is it worse to store this than to store a bunch of people sending money to each other that you don't know, you don't care?
because you do care because they are so okay. Apparently, I need to explain this. Um, there there is this commons problem, right? In a global state and maintaining global state, you have this commons problem as to why are my actions any concern to you or otherwise, or vice versa, right? So this is this is why any arbitrary data on global state is uh, offloading onto the commons, and it's an issue, right? Because then you get the tragedy of the commons. Then people might use it, but who's going to maintain this thing, right? Because so now the only reason so there's only one thing that actually works, and that's the administration of the satoshis. Why? Because your Bitcoin exists in relation to the other Bitcoin. So you have to be aware of the position of all the other Bitcoin in order for your own Bitcoin to be worth anything, to mean anything.
Right, right. Okay, okay, okay. But you didn't answer my question. Someone else has Bitcoin. Okay, you
Yes.
must be aware of that. But if that person sends their Bitcoin to their friend and the friend sends back to them and they send again to the friend and the friend sends back to them a million times,
Yeah.
what difference does it make for you? Like if they hadn't made those transactions, and what's the difference between they haven't made any transaction, they just keep their Bitcoin, or they made 100 transactions in a month and the Bitcoins are still there? Like in practice, there's no difference. But there's
No,
one
because you
difference. The one difference is that you have to store all that crap.
the how on earth would you know that there is no difference if you were not to track that all the transactions going on? You have to maintain
Okay,
the
like
ledger.
after the fact that you tracked it, what's the difference?
Then there's no difference in the sense that there are still that these coins are there in the first place, right? So it goes back to the origin of the um, what's it called? Why? What's the first? What's the part of the block that miners use for their
Coinbase.
Coinbase? Thank you. So it goes back to the Coinbase transaction. But you have to be aware of the
I
entire
know. You don't
UTXO
have to
set in order
explain. You
to.
don't have to explain this to me. But I mean, after the fact, you've
Yes, but you can only you only you are only aware of it after the fact, after you already checked everything. You came to a
no. It's
conclusion
the
as well,
same thing.
apparently.
It's the same thing on the ordinal stuff. You checked. Someone had some satoshis and they transferred. You checked that,
Yes,
and
but
now you
you're
have to
it's a
store a picture of something that you don't care about. The same way you have to store 100 transactions that someone did because they were playing, like they were teaching their friends about Bitcoin or something like that.
yes, but
It's
the
this.
problem. So okay, but then, like I said, I have no, I have no issue. I have no issue with people dumping arbitrary data on chain,
Okay,
as long as they pay for it. But
but
as
they're
far
not
as I
paying
understand,
you. You're running a
as
node
far
and they're not paying you.
as far as I understand, there is a discount for pushing this arbitrary data in relation to doing regular transactions. So it's cheaper to push arbitrary data on chain than it is to do Bitcoin transactions.
And you're pissed about that.
Relatively. No. Now the question is Bitcoin dead?
No, Bitcoin's not dead. You want that answer? I gave you the answer. I think
Uh
um,
I mean, it has an undermining tendency, right? I mean, the core function of the system is to do Bitcoin transactions in one way or another.
yeah, I was pissed about this too,
Yes.
about this ordinal stuff.
Now they have to compete on an unlevel playing field on another application.
Yeah, but Bitcoin transactions that use the any Bitcoin transaction that have witness data, they also get the discount on their witness data. So if you have a multi-sig that requires 15 signatures, all these will be on the witness data. So your multi-sig signature will have a discount, a relatively
Too.
bigger discount than a normal transaction that has one signature.
Is that true? I mean, wouldn't it scale linearly just with the complexity? I guess so. No, no, I would have to think about this. Um, but I think
Yeah,
yeah.
but
Okay, so but let's
this
get
is
back to
another
the
thing, another
yeah.
point. Like the Segwit soft fork,
Uh huh.
it wasn't very well thought. Like it should have been blocked, like CTV was, with people saying, "Oh, is there a better way to do this? Why don't we discuss 10 more years about it?" And because Segwit had a lot of problems. One of the problems was this arbitrary, unnecessary, unrequested block size increase.
I don't know if all those if that's completely true. I mean, it was it's part of the it's it's inherently part of the fact that you are segregating the witness, right?
No, no, you could have like made a new rule that says, oh, now we count the block with this witness is also part of the 1 megabyte limit, and that wouldn't that would still be a soft fork.
Okay, fair enough. But then, okay,
Luke Jr. said, if you don't believe me, he said it was a compromise with the
yes,
big
that was
blockers.
what I was about to say. That at the time it was a compromise of the situation going on.
But the big
So
blockers didn't care. They didn't even realize there was a block size
I
increase.
know, I know.
Yeah, actually, the small blockers also didn't realize. At least most of them.
Yeah, so we went from 1 megabyte to I think effectively two, theoretically four, right?
Yeah.
Something like that. Yeah. So um uh the thing with Segwit was it was a solution to. I mean, I like Segwit. Fundamentally, what Segwit does is um, it freed it freed the consensus rules from the script basically, because now we just it's like okay we just don't use script anymore, or like we still, of course we still use it, but uh everything in Bitcoin is just these anyone can spend transactions, and then it opened up this new area. It's like, okay, we're gonna figure out in this new area how we're gonna limit these spending conditions, because it doesn't necessarily we don't necessarily need this stuff this close to the core. So it made uh, upgrading quote unquote Bitcoin more flexible. That it's interesting, right? I like it.
Um, yeah, but I think it could be done without. It definitely could be done without increasing the block size.
Oh,
But
okay, sure.
it could probably also be done using some arbitrary rule, like the pay to script hash thing, which is a very ugly design. Like just it's just a very arbitrary thing that makes no sense, but we just implement it because the
What
page
is?
script hash it's a script like the Satoshi script,
Mm-hmm.
which is a raw script, but the script is just check if this thing matches this hash.
Yep.
Yeah, but whenever you see that, you know from the shape of the script, you don't have to just check if the hash matches, because the thing that is being hashed is a script. You also have to verify if the script is valid. So you just there's just an additional rule that is not written in the script. So it's a very arbitrary, ugly thing. They should have made a new opcode. Maybe that would be more elegant.
Look, fiatjaf,
Mm.
we should rebuild Bitcoin.
Yeah, this time we're gonna get it right.
We're gonna get it right because yeah, that's I guess that's something. Uh, it's a that dictates as a from a personality perspective who's going to be a Bitcoiner or not. Or it also like what the difference is between Ethereum people and Bitcoin people is that it's inherent to Bitcoin that you have to submit yourself to this shitty notion of legacy, right?
Yeah,
It's like, yes, it's crap. It's a piece of shit. But due to this thing of like network effects, and you have to we have this shared consensus, and that shared consensus has grown over time, right, step by step, so you cannot just reset the clock because then we would be resetting the clock, and when we're starting at zero again, and we're already what is it, 14 years we're already 14 years into this thing. So we'll have to just drag it along, and if we do anything, it has to be via this soft fork, and and it's like, it sucks, right? I get, from that person, I get Ethereum people.
Yeah.
It's like, okay, fuck this shit. We'll just, because
The
it goes
problem is that
back
they
to,
didn't get it right. They
yeah,
also
that's a shame, right? I mean,
they
that's,
could.
it's so ironic. You could have built the perfect Bitcoin, and instead you're building Ethereum. No, but it's
The theory is so beautiful. You can do anything with it, and still no one has found anything useful to do with that.
so
And
the
they're
thing,
drowning in pictures of cats being marketed, and no one can do anything because they're drowning in this thing.
and
Okay.
I guess that's the problem with so that's exactly the problem with the flexibility of doing all these hard forks, right? Is that you, uh, whatever path you are on, it's probably impossible to stay on path, uh, or whatever. But on the other hand, so I guess that's where Bitcoin is right, right? But where I think Ethereum is right, and then we'll tie it back to where we started this discussion, um, is the fact that the system relies on this philosopher king, or this philosopher committee, right? And okay, maybe Ethereum tries to deny it, but it's just more obvious that you have Vitalik and whatever group around the guy, and they're just coordinating these next steps. And if that's the case, because it's not sustainable into the future. I mean, the moment Vitalik dies, right? The moment the king dies, that
Yeah,
dynamic's over. You're not able to
he
do
doesn't
this.
even have sons.
Hmm?
Like he doesn't even have children to pass the throne to.
Right. He's a shitty monarch. He doesn't even have children. No, but succession is the problem here. So it dies after a generation, and then you have your ossification. So
Yeah,
eventually they're gonna ossify as well.
if they survive. I'm hoping they won't survive that
No,
much.
I agree. I hope, but in that sense, they are right. I mean, maybe, but okay, but so there's no perfect world, right? So you can't pick and choose these elements.
Did Satoshi
Uh,
die?
okay, that's another part. I hate the fact that Satoshi just didn't burn his coins.
Hmm.
I think the Satoshi Million thing is so fucking shitty. I hate it.
I think he died.
Well, let's hope he died, and let's hope his coins are lost forever, because but it sucks, right? He should have burned them, honestly, because now you can never trust him. You can never trust Satoshi because his coins are still there.
Hmm. I didn't care about the coins. I was thinking about the leadership, and if he was alive, he would be dictating the progress of the protocol for more time.
No, because he was already getting himself to the background, right? He already handed it over.
Yeah, I don't know.
Yeah, he handed it over. So, um, he already handed it over. It was already moving towards the background. So no. Um, but yeah, so I mean, maybe. Yeah, okay, so you're damned if you do, damned if you don't. Obviously I like the situation where Bitcoin's in better than the situation Ethereum is in. Um, but from a practical sense, or practical perspective, maybe our philosopher committee should just grow some balls and admit to the position that they're in, right?
Yeah.
And just say, okay, we are this handful of guys. We are Gregory Maxwell, we are Peter Weile, and we are whatever the guys are. And this thing stops the moment we die.
Yeah.
Deal with it.
They also don't have children, right?
Probably not, right? They're just a bunch of neckbeard nerds. No, I don't know. Maybe they
Yeah,
do.
they're listening to this podcast.
Obviously, yeah. We have to keep them. We have to. We have to not make enemies with our philosopher kings. I mean, if you what did they say? If you go for the king, you better not miss. So no, but I mean, they could say that, and nothing would change really fundamentally if they would just admit it that this is the position we have, and it stops when we die.
Yeah, maybe.
And we have a vision for Bitcoin. This is the vision for Bitcoin. This is what we're working towards. Uh, Jeremy, you can come back because now you know what the vision is. So you can come up with a proposal that fits into this vision, and we're gonna build Bitcoin.
Yeah.
And we're gonna do a soft fork every fucking 2 years. Probably it's not not a strict timeline. It's more like a guideline. But everybody can be at ease that we are going to do the soft fork at some regular interval, and we're working our way all the way up to the point that we don't have to do them anymore, because then it's done.
I think you just gave them a good idea. I hope they're listening. Yeah.
Probably not. Well, of course they're listening. I mean,
Who is
duh.
not?
But
Who's not listening? Right?
everybody's listening. But
Yeah.
they're not listening in the fact that they're because it's I'm not one of the philosopher kings, right? So they
They don't care about you at all.
they cannot accept this idea anymore because I came up with it. We'll have to we'll have to we have to delete the evidence that I ever came up with the idea, and then Gregory Maxwell can come up with the idea, and then
You should
everybody
have
will
said
agree.
like, "Oh, I think I heard this from Gregory Maxwell."
Yes, yes.
It was something like that.
If I recall correctly. From now on, all my ideas are originally thought up by Gregory Maxwell. Okay.
Okay, let's end this. I have to turn off.
All right. You have to meet your cars.
Yeah,
You have to shower among the cars.
yeah. There's a car parking inside my shower, my bathroom.
Okay.
I have to go there and break his whatever.
Okay.
Okay,
Talk to you later.
thank you.
Bye bye.